So, hello everybody to the second episode of my podcast, No Limits. And today we have Lars Olofsson back with some follow-up questions. And welcome, Lars, again.
Thank you, Daniel. It's always nice to be here.
And so I will just dive in with the first question and no time to waste.
Yes, go on.
Where are we today with the legal actions?
Yes, that's a good question. I've been doing an investigation and research for a month now, and me and my team, we are about 8 people who are doing research and are paralegals who are assisting me. And we have been collecting information and try to get a full picture of what has happened in this situation and who are the facilitators, who are the people behind Juicyfields, and how much money has people lost and all these kind of things. And I feel that I'm ready now to go into legal action. And one of the important things is to act very fast in these kind of situations, because you need to know that the perpetrator, the scammers, they have put as much effort into getting the money as keeping the money. And that is very, very important, because these scammers, they are like bank robbers. They have planned to go into the bank and rob the bank and get some money, but they have also done a lot of efforts and a lot of planning how to get out of the bank and keep the money. So what we are doing is that we are now going into action as fast as possible, as I said, and do the first legal actions. And I could tell you, Daniel, that my first legal action is not going to be against the banks. The banks is, for me, one of the main facilitators in this scam. I have said that the money is gone, the money that everyone has sent to Juicyfield, that money is gone, and it's not going to be tracked, and it's not going to be found. And definitely it's not going to be refunds as well. So what I'm doing, my legal strategy, is to go for the facilitators, those who made it possible for Juicyfields to do this scam and do it under so long time, because normally these kind of scams doesn't last more than a couple of months, at most 6 months. But this has been going on for almost 2 years, and that require quite a lot of network of facilitators. So those are the ones, and the banks is one of those facilitators. I have a list of something like 60 plus banks who are involved in this facilitation of the transfer back and forth between the investors and Juicyfields. But there are also some other major players when it comes to the facilitators. And those are the ones I'm going to target the first. They are the ones I could explain more like they are the lowest hanging fruit for me. So in a couple of weeks, today we are in the middle of August, and in the end of August, at latest, the first week in September, I'm going into the first legal action.
Thank you, Lars. I can't wait myself to see what will happen.
Yeah, it's going to be a big surprise, I could tell you. And I've been working together with a number of reporters from news magazines and podcasts all over the world. I've been talking to some 12, 13 reporters so far. And we're going to send out news flashes and press releases at the same time we are going into these legal actions. So there is going to be a number of reports, a number of articles that is synchronized by our legal actions.
Amazing. Can't wait, as I just said.
Yeah.
Can you perhaps comment something about the recent information that claims to come from Juicyfields?
Yeah. And it's very interesting, Daniel, because as I have said before, we have been doing investigation and helping people in some 30 scams before for some 15 years now. And it follows a kind of playbook. It's a standardized design. You are doing this and you are doing that and so on and so on. And in this playbook, so to say, is also that you are leaving someone behind who is posting this different kind of statements, different kind of messages to people, having people believe that it isn't a scam. It's still something that is going on. It's just some temporary problems or whatever it is and so on. And we have been laughing between us, me and my head paralegal, Mrs. Nina, because the messages that we have seen, the post we have seen, that was pretended to come from Juicyfields, and by the way, all these messages, all these posts are never signed by an individual. They are just signed by the Juicyfield founding team or the Juicyfield rescue team or whatever it is. There is no one individual who are stepping forward and tell, I am the one who is behind this and I am the one who taking charge and responsible for this. So when we have read these messages, these posts, these statements, it's more or less a copy-paste of what we have seen before. So it follows, as I said, a kind of playbook for scammers. We have seen not more or less word by word. We have read these messages several times before. 10 years ago, we saw exactly the same messages. And that is for us a proof of that this was a scam from the beginning. So, for instance, these messages, these posts that you have been seeing on internet and social media or whatever it is for the last 2 or 3, 4 days, they was written, I think, at least a half a year ago. So these are not new ones. They were written several months ago, and they were prepared for now that they have done the exit and having people to believe after the exit that it wasn't any scam. So for me, it's a very, very big proof of that this is a scam.
I remember from yesterday's talk, I just came up now when you talked about Jens and Grow in Denmark.
Yes.
That they are affiliates with Juicyfields, and when they released their green papers, they forgot to remove the Juicyfields logo.
Yeah, that's
a mistake they did, but it's so apparent.
Yeah, it's a kind of embarrassing because I have seen this prospect, a kind of investment prospect, telling about this investment opportunity, and they have just changed Juicyfield to Jens and Grow. And all the text and all the messages and so on, all the facts are exactly the same. It's a copy-paste. They have just done a new graphic design of the prospect. But it was embarrassing because on page 22, I think there was some 30 pages or something like that. In page 22, the one who did this prospect, he or she has forgotten to take away the Juicyfield logo and put in the Jens and Grow logo that was presenting in all of the other pages. So they had made a mistake. But using the Juicyfields logo, and it's kind of embarrassing. And as I said, all the other posts, all the other messages or statements, they are more or less a copy paste. And this presentation, this prospect, the Jens and Grow prospect, is an exact copy paste of what Juicyfield has done before.
Doesn't get more clear than when they forgot to change the logo.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So the next question then is, how can people join this unconventional class action?
Yes.
And what does it cost? It's a very typical question for us.
Yeah. It's good that you're mentioning unconventional, because I have seen a number of lawyers all over Europe that is now saying that we are now going to make a lawsuit against some individuals in Juicyfield or the Juicyfield company. There are different kind of companies. There are companies in the Netherlands. There are companies in Switzerland, various companies in Cyprus. And they are going after the Juicyfield companies or some of the individuals that has been seen publicly for Juicyfields. And I could tell you, and this is very important, I have reports all over Europe now that people who have filed police reports for frauds and scam to the police, they are now receiving back from the police saying that we are not going to do anything about this. This is not a criminal offense. This is a civil case. This is a legal dispute between you and Juicyfield or whatever individual who has represented Juicyfield. So the police authorities are not going to do anything. And there is a cybercrime unit as well, a European organization that covers all the EU countries. And this cybercrime unit, they have also said that we are not going to be involved in the Juicyfield scam. We cannot do anything. We are not going to investigate. It's impossible for us to act in this case. So the lawyers who are now trying to do a civil case, a lawsuit against the company or the individuals, they have even a harder situation than the police, because the lawyer, they cannot enforce evidence. They cannot require documents from the counterparts. They cannot require text messages or email correspondence or whatever it is that the police authorities has the possibility to obtain. So the lawyer's case against Juicyfield company and Juicyfield individuals, it's much difficult than the police. And if the police says we cannot do anything, well, the lawyers cannot do anything. So what I'm doing now is to put together a class action, what's called a class action, but it's an unconventional class action, because I'm not targeting, as I said before, I'm not targeting the individuals behind Juicyfields or the Juicyfields company. I'm targeting the facilitators. And if you want to join this class action, then you could send me an email. We are going to present the email address. And you could sign up for joining this class action. Today we have more than 300 people who have signed up and are now my clients. And as I said, I'm going into the first legal action. There is going to be legal action for at least 1 year to come. So, and there is going to be, I think today, 40, 50 different kind of legal actions in court, outside court, and so on. But the first one, as I said, is within a couple of weeks. So you could sign, you who is listening to this pod, you could sign up to be a part of this class action. And I'm working exactly the same as the lawyers are in the US, because there is a different tradition in the United States than there are in Europe, more or less all over Europe. Because the lawyers in Europe, they are just charging people by the hour. They are charging something between 250 and 300 euros per hour. And they want money up front. So normally you have, as a client, you have to pay up front at least 10,000 euros, maybe in this case, 20,000 euros to be put into an account, a client account. and then they is extracted the money from the client account by how many hours they have spent working on the case. I'm working as the US lawyers, so I'm not charging my clients anything by the hour. I want 20% of what I succeed in retrieving from the counterparts. So when I'm doing a negotiation with one of these facilitators, with the banks and so on, the money I manage to retrieve from these counterparts, I want 20%. And the normal is that for the US lawyers to have something between 30 and 40%. But I have said that in this case, I think it's enough for us to cover our cost for 20%. So that is the cost. And if I doesn't succeed, I'm not going to be paid. But having said that, we also have quite a lot of expenses. We have expenses for all the traveling. I had to go back and forth all over Europe and so on. And I also have some expenses, overhead costs and so on. So to cover my expenses, I need to charge each and every client an admission fee, an administration fee of 100 euros. But that's all you are paying as my representative. As a client, you are paying 100 euros in an administration fee, and that's it. Then I'm charging 20% of what I'm succeeding in retrieving. And you could, as I said, you could sign up now. I'm going to give you the email address, and you could just send me your name and your address, and then I return the agreements, what terms we are working with, and the contract, and some information about my procedures.
Thank you, Lars. I'm very satisfied with this, but I want to add something here.
Yes.
About the French lawyer who takes 360 euros.
Yes.
And that is only to start the research on this case. And he said in his contract that when it's time for court, he will charge more money. They needed to pay him a lot just to begin the research. And here we have you who've been diving into it every day for a month. And for free, basically.
That's right. And I want my clients to feel that we are in the same situation. The client has lost money. I don't have any money. Why should I ask this person who has lost quite a lot of money to pay me and pay me up front? Quite a lot of my clients has said to me, I have lost more or less everything I have. I have invested more or less all my savings in this case. So I don't have much money. There are actually clients who have said that I have difficulty to pay the administration fee of 100 euros. And it breaks my heart that people have put themselves in this situation, and that Juicyfields and all the facilitators had put people in this situation, because I'm not blaming the people. I'm blaming Juicyfields, and I'm blaming all the facilitators who should have stopped this, who should have not making this possible. Those are the ones that I'm targeting, and I think those are the criminals. The victims, they are victims, nothing else. And nobody is stupid. Anybody could fall for this kind of scam. All my clients are highly intelligent, well educated, have a lot of experience and so on. So this is not something that only people who doesn't think or who is doesn't have any kind of experience falls for. And as I said, going through courts and trying to target the Juicyfield companies or the individuals, that's just a waste of time. I'm sorry to say, but that's a waste of time.
Thank you. So how will you negotiate with these different companies and facilitators regarding their responsibilities and then settlements?
Absolutely. It's going to be hard bargain. It's not going to be what the Englishman says, a walk in the park. Definitely not. But I have been doing this for many, many years. And we are in a unique position because I'm also running an investment and business developing company. It's called Prio Startups. So we have two sides of a business. I'm a lawyer and I am also a businessman, an investor and a business developer. And we are focused on startup companies. And you could view Juicyfields as a startup company. So we recognize all the difficulties and so on when it comes to Juicyfields and to start this operation. So I'm very used to different kind of business negotiation. I know exactly how my counterpart thinks. I know exactly what kind of arguments they have. And so on. And I know how much I could ask for and those things as well. So that gives me a great advantage when it comes to the negotiation. And what I'm basically going to say to all these counterparts, if it's the banks or if it's the facilitators or whoever it is who has been helping directly or indirectly Juicyfields, I'm going to tell them that if you don't pay or pay damages for my clients, then I'm going to turn over all my information to the authorities. And then you have to negotiate or discuss with the authorities instead. And if I'm just taking this as an example, if I'm asking for 100, I could tell you by my experience that if the authorities comes in and says that you have done something wrong, you have done something unlawful or something that you shouldn't have done, then the government, the authorities is asking for 500. So it's going to be cheap for these banks, the facilitators, to negotiate with me and don't have to negotiate with the authorities. As I said, if I'm asking 100, the authorities definitely, with my experience, they are going to ask for 500 in some kind of penalty or whatever it is. And it's also, and this is important, I'm going to, and this is why we have this special knowledge as a businessman, because I also know the business model of all these companies. So if the government, the authorities, is going to do any kind of actions against these facilitators and the banks, they are also going to target the banks and the facilitators' business model. So it's not just going to be a penalty fee. It's also going to reduce the possibility for future income and future profit for these companies. So it's going to be extremely expensive for all these companies not to negotiate with me.
Thank you, Lars. That was very good information. And on the topic of being the businessman and everything, you even have experience in the cannabis industry.
Yes.
You really know this very well.
Yeah. It's good that you mention it because both me and my business partner, Mrs. Nida, we have been working together for 7 years now. Both of us are very much into alternative medicines and supplements and this kind of things. And we have done it for more or less all our lives. So we know this business, and we have been investing in the cannabis and the hemp growing business and farming and production. We have done that for some 10 years now. We are part owner of 4 large production facilities in North Macedonia, for instance, and we are just now setting up a factory for CBD oil, for instance, that comes from the hemp and the cannabis. So we know quite a lot of this industry, and that's why we said from start, the Juicyfields business concept. That doesn't make any kind of sense at all.
In many ways,
work that way in the industry. So yes, we have quite a lot of experience and knowledge from the cannabis industry since about 10 years now.
Yeah, in all different aspects, even from your specialized in corruptions and scams, and from your business sides, everything is like you're really prepared for this case, no more than any other lawyer I have ever seen. That's just my 2 cents. I want to add there.
And if you want to succeed in this kind of negotiations and targeting the scammers and the facilitators, you need to have this kind of knowledge and experience as well, because it's going to be a combination. All the negotiations is going to be a business negotiation. The legal side, the law side of things is just one part of this negotiation and one part of the strategy I have. So it's a combination of the law and the legal side, but also a combination of the business side of things.
Thank you, Lars. I think we might stop here because the time is running out.
Yeah.
But, thank you.
So happy to share all the information and so on, and I hope I will be able to come back and update on the latest events and so on. And I try to be as accessible as possible in this question. I want to be very, very transparent, and I want to have a communication with those who has been victims in this case and those who are now my clients.
Yeah, you're writing to us every day and giving so much information, and working from morning to evening. I don't know what to say really, but you're welcome anytime.
Thank you. It has been very, very nice and pleasure to talk to you, Daniel.
Likewise, Lars. I stopped the recording now.
Thank you.